Howdy, welcome to the shop. Today we're going to be working on Mama's 98 model GMC Jimmy Hoopty wagon. We have a radiator leak, or I should say a coolant leak somewhere. Don't know where because I haven't seen it yet. It's been raining for the last couple of days, kind of wet. I drove this thing the other day to go pick the boy up at school, and it got a little warm on me, and I got back home, let it cool off, checked the coolant, and it was 3 quarts low, which ain't a lot, but it's some. Well, I topped it off, burped it out. The next day, after she got home, I checked it again, and it was another quart low. So it's getting rid of coolant somewhere. I have examined the overflow line and make sure that it's not rotted off at the burp tank or anything, and it's fine. So it's not losing coolant out of the overflow and just running it out on the ground. When this thing is warm, you can smell antifreeze in this area. You don't smell any antifreeze inside. You don't smell any antifreeze blowing out of the heater vents. So I'm fairly convinced that we don't have a cracked radiator or a heater core. Fairly convinced we don't have a cracked heater core, because usually, if not every time, when you have a cracked heater core, you'll get antifreeze stink inside of the automobile. You'll get fog and grease. You'll get antifreeze fog sticking to the windshield when you turn on the defrosters, which is awful handy. So at this point, y'all know about as much as I do about where the leak is. I suspect it's either the radiator. If it's going to be in the radiator, it'll either be in the crimp, or it could be in the field. Could be in the crimp on where the tanks crimp on. It could be in the water pump. I changed this water pump about 2 or 10 years ago. And, water pumps don't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. So, now this rig does have the Chevrolet undercarriage corrosion prevention system. Just like every 4.3 liter Chevrolet does, it just pukes oil everywhere. It loses about, I would say it probably drips 3 or 4 drops of oil on the ground every time you park it. It probably loses a quart every 2,000 or 3,000 miles, which is not bad. I mean, I'm not complaining. This thing's a 98 model. Good God, it's got almost 200,000 miles on it. It's a good old truck. It just got a 200,000 mile truck. So let's get into to looking for a leak. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put a pressure tester on this, and this came from O'Reilly's. It just says pressure tester, part number is 9300, and then in the fine print it says 72471. And this is just your standard radiator pressure tester, nothing fancy about it. Every shop should have one. Everyone that drives old beaters like me should have one of these. So we're going to pump this up to about 15 pounds. That's about 15. Okay, the idea of this is you can put pressure on the cooling system without having to have the automobile warm and relying on the radiator cap to put pressure on things. Now, I run a pretty light radiator cap. This one's just got a 7 in it. The radiator cap on my truck is a 4 or a 3. Honestly, this thing's pushing 30 years old. It's a 25-year-old automobile. You really don't want to run a 15-pound cap on these, because everything is corroded, rotted, wore. You got to be gentle with a rig this old. And that's just one of the things that I do. Makes radiator cores last a lot, or heater cores last a lot longer. And trust me, you don't want to change a heater core in one of these rigs. It is complicated. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to look for wet spots. Now this rig's been sitting in the shop all night. It's thoroughly dry. The only wet spots I've got is down the tank on this side of the radiator where I topped it off last night before I parked it. So there'll be a little bit of wet stain down the side of this. Everything else is dry. So I'm going to search around and look for a leak. Okay.
Hey, I think I found a leak. I think this busted. And
so tell me what was your sign there? How did you find it?
I was just under there collecting worms, and I heard a splash, and then I looked under here, and I saw like it was puking out antifreeze.
Okay.
And there's a little drip right here.
Yeah, for whatever reason we've gotten a lot of rain the last couple of days. We came in the shop this morning, and there was like 100 worms crawling across the floor of the shop. So it was kind of neat. So don't know if you can see up in there, but that is dripping off of the kind of the crimp, rolling down the crimp on the driver's side of the radiator where the tank is crimped onto the core. So now we know where our leak is. Thanks to old Hawkeye over here. Okay, so you're looking down the driver's side of the radiator. This right here is the crimp where the tank's crimped on. And at the very bottom, about 3 inches up, you can start to see wet spot, or a stain actually, on the aluminum. And that is somewhere in there is where the leak was. And we won't know for sure till we get this radiator out of here. So we got to go to town. Hopefully the parts house has got a radiator in stock. If not, we're 120 miles from Springfield, Missouri. So usually if I get an order in by noon, we got it by 3 p.m. the same day. So there's radiators available for these. They are not worth fooling with. I think the last one I bought was $120 for the very best one they could get me. There's no reason to fool with one of these radiators. Yank it out, throw it away, and put a new one in. So we'll leave off here on this one, and we'll probably do a part 2 on this here after a while, and go over some more stuff. So until then,
y'all drive safe and watch for deer.
Right, y'all drive safe, watch for deer.